Hello, welcome back to Fire Horizons Gaming. My name is Ben, and today we're continuing on with some Suzerain. So last time we left off, a whole bunch of stuff happened. Signed a couple bills, we caught Peter cheating, we accepted some foreign aid, and I also probably accidentally totally screwed my constitutional reform plans. So that's fantastic. Guess we'll see what happens with that. But for right now, we've got some newspaper reports here, or newspaper articles here, and one report. So let's take a look at those here. So first off is Swordland Today. President Rain saves the day. According to the information we've received, President Rain has decided that he will veto the Religious Harmony Bill. The bill itself has the words harmony in it, however don't be fooled by the name. A proposal prepared by Kasaru Keebner took a stab at the heart of the Blutish populace by banning Blutish language from being spoken at religious assemblies. If not for President Rain, this bill would have come to pass. Every single Blut should be grateful for the exemplary decision by the President. Nice. Alright, Geopolitico. Swordland accepts financial aid from Arcasia. Which seemed like a controversial move, but I'm happy with it at the moment. Anyway, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has announced that Swordland will accept the financial aid from Arcasia. So far, it appears that President Rain has followed through with his campaign promise to look westward towards Arcasia. His intention is to take a side in the international arena and align Swordland with a major superpower will certainly have lasting effects in the region. Although on the surface this may appear as simply a boost to Swordland's crippled economy, the real motive is still unclear. President Rain's move might be signaling a potential alliance between Swordland and other countries in ATO, which makes an alliance with Lesbia a probable outcome. Okay. That's cool. What is ATO? Caucasian Treaty Organization. Huh. It looks like it's like an early version of the UN. Something like that. NATO? Probably NATO. Alright. Back to Lockhaven here for another report. Privatization in education. The new privatization plan of the Ministry of Education is in full swing, and the first dozen public schools have transitioned into for-profit organizations already after a public bidding process determined the buyers. Minister of Education Ciara Walda said that only a small percentage of all institutions will be allowed transition. It is expected that the ministry will gather a substantial amount of private funds from the initiative. Cool. Still not a huge fan of having to do that, but that's okay. I'd rather get more money into the schools than none, so might as well have to deal with. Alright. So for the next story beat, briefing on the status of immigration regulation. This ought to be fun. Alright. We were in the middle of a meeting in the palace about our immigration policy. The ensuing discussion quickly became heated.
I don't think so, Mr. Vichy. It just doesn't make sense to me that a foreign citizen should come before a Swordlish citizen in Swordland.
Well said. My analysis is also in line with this, especially during the economic recession. We are giving Swordlish jobs to migrants from other countries. What about our own people?
Racist old people.
Immigrants are the reason our economy is not completely unsalvageable. Look at Agnolian immigrants in Ireland. They have revitalized the whole region and in turn boosted the economy of the entire country. Simon can attest to that. Statistically speaking, allowing immigrants to become part of the workforce contributes to our economy, but I agree that the current situation is very nuanced. With that said, we can't just tighten our immigration policy and expect the economy to stay the same. We need to put our economy and the recession at the forefront. Thankfully, we have just started receiving financial aid from Arcasia.
And then what? We'll become their servants? First they'll place their warplanes in Earlery, then their armies will come. You will see. I do not approve of this decision at all.
Don't be dramatic. We need to be friendly with our potential allies.
Allies? Swordland has no allies and never did.
That's a good xenophobic policy.
Well said, Mr. Lancia. We can't be naive. Gentlemen, can we please get back on topic? Right. Sorry, Mr. Vichy. As I was just saying before I was interrupted, look at the superpowers. Do you see them closing off their borders? Why do you think their economies are in such good shape? They're in their current state because they welcome immigration and use it to their advantage.
Yes, we need to consider the impact on the economy.
Our money flow should be our utmost concern, if we have the capability to accomplish actual change. We need a decision, but before we move on, Mr. President, do you have any questions about the current state of immigration?
I've got a lot of questions. What's the current legal status of immigrants?
Currently, all accepted immigrants are given a work permit on arrival so that they can work and contribute to the economy of Swortland. There is currently no limit on the number of immigrants accepted. However, the number has remained stable over the past years. Despite the laws, the fact is many immigrants illegally work for corporations. That is the main issue with immigration right now, not the immigration itself. Nonsense. If not for the unlimited amount of immigration, we wouldn't be in this state.
How many immigrants live in Swortland?
Official numbers show that we have anywhere between 2 to 3 million immigrants residing in Swortland. Even excluding the countless undocumented aliens on Mist, that is a very substantial amount. The primary issue is the strife they cause between less fortunate Swordfish citizens and themselves. Including them in the workforce would benefit everybody, including unemployed swords. More taxes means more services.
How do immigrants usually arrive here?
There are 3 major paths they choose. The first one is the Island-Agnolia border. The second is the Bergia-Valen border. And the third is the Loren Coast.
Agnolians are the largest group. It's a light border over there, although recently political fugitives from Falkland have been crossing the Grey Sea by boat to land on our coast.
Politically persecuted Vesic refugees tend to use the dangerous mountain passes at the Valen border. Many of them also have bluish blood.
Cranky old bag. Let's move on and see what can be done about the immigration situation.
Yeah, very well.
David Vichy opened his dossier stamped with the seal of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade.
Before we make any decisions, I have to remind you. During the elections, we promised to keep our immigration laws relaxed, which I think is the right course of action.
I disagree. We are supposed to control and reduce the negative effects of immigration, like crime and subversion.
I see your point, Yosef, but the economy certainly benefits from more immigration. Internal order, on the other hand, suffers immensely.
Yes, because all immigrants and refugees are horrible, horrible people.
We should tighten the laws to prevent further chaos.
David sighed wearily.
This is going nowhere.
Well, I know what I want to do, but won't hurt to ask. If we decide to tighten immigration, what does that entail?
We would have to impose quotas and connect to that stricter border control. On top of allowing our economy to take a hit. Mr. Hole, surely the well-being of our citizens and our internal security will more than compensate for any downturn in the markets.
Agreed. Swedish citizens should take priority.
Okay. What are the consequences of keeping our immigration policy relaxed?
Aside from keeping us on the path to prosperity, modernity, and continuous improvement, not much. Our current system is good for our era. We also have the capacity. This will allow us to continue protecting investments from foreign countries, which in turn will keep our trade steady. We would be more trustworthy partners. Stability draws money. Stability? What stability? We're already seeing clashes between our people and foreign interlopers. On the contrary, the only way we can achieve stability is through tightening our immigration policy and getting rid of all those dirty immigrants.
You heard the lady. Swortland first.
Yes, make Swortland great again. I'm ready to make a decision.
Yes?
Everyone lean forward, eager to hear my response. We'll keep immigration laws relaxed.
I'm glad you made the right choice.
We'll be forced to handle new waves of migrants manually. Our border posts aren't ready.
Not only that, we just abandoned the native swords who need our support the most. Also, this will bring in a new tide of refugees from Valen. Bergia is already a difficult region to manage.
This is shameful.
It's a tough one, but probably doesn't make a difference. Let's see. Not leaving Sorlin unprotected. Decision's final. Let's go with the last one. The citizens of Sorlin aren't forgotten. Our work for them continues.
And now they'll compete with foreign immigrants just to put food on their tables.
I'm disappointed in you, Rain.
Anything else, Mr. President? Yeah, let's end this discussion and get to work. There are changes to be made. Ministers gathered their documents and rose from the chairs, some with frowns on their faces.
And I'm looking forward to the upcoming trade talks. Pedro and I have been visiting Starport and Vraklovitz in preparation. I'll be coming along to talk with the economy minister, looking forward to the potential partnership. If we're finished, I need to head off and get the ministry to work on the new policy.
Same here. Our border units need to be informed and prepared.
Let's just be passive-aggressive. Keep up the good work. The ministers dispersed. Nice. I like how the oldest guy is the most progressive. The other two were just nice, racist old people. Love it. Alright. That looks like we got one report and another newspaper. Oh, and a new country overview thing. Let's see. So we have streamlined immigration, latest immigration policy, closed loopholes, reduced illegal migrants, and streamlined legal immigration processes. So that's just a neutral thing, apparently. And nationwide protests quelled, which is fantastic. Nationwide protests have been quelled thanks to our devoted efforts. Diplomacy, just relaxed immigration. The relaxed immigration laws streamline, shorten the immigration process, incentivizing immigrants. Nice. Okay. Well, let's take a look at the paper here first. From Lockhaven Times. Freedom and Education Choice. The new privatization initiative has allowed many middle-income households to pay for better education in their districts. We have finally reached a point where our children are allowed to change their destiny by the simple freedom of choice. The price might be higher compared to state-funded education, but it is justified in performance. Nice. Alright, it's got a report from Wholesword from the Ministry of Justice. The Ministry of Justice reports that the restructuring of the ministry has been completed with success after the increase of its budget. According to the report, a large portion of the budget was transferred specifically to solve the case backlog issues at lower courts, which has already helped ease the situation. Additional efforts will be directed at fighting corruption, upholding the integrity of judges, and the consolidation of the rule of law. Minister Morgna said she intends to bring back trust in the justice system, more accessible and efficient courts, a public information campaign, by rooting out corruption in society. I mean, that could easily go either way, but still feel more comfortable giving her the money than that racist old lady. Oops. And smacking my mouse here. Alright, so let's head to Benfi for this story beat here. Opening of the Benfi Festival. Oh, I remember this. This is where we possibly shadily got our wife a speaking gig over the former mayor. Alright, this could be interesting. Our motorcade slowly made its way towards the magnificent Benfi High Arts Center. Night was falling, and the festival was about to begin. I flipped through the brochure that had been given to us at the hotel. Monica's face was featured on the front page, but the schedule on the inside still said that Curtin Lest, Mayor of Anarcha, would be making the opening remarks. My last-minute announcement that my wife would be replacing Curtin must have caused some confusion at the print shop. The Benfi Festival was one of the biggest events of the year. It originally marked the start of the annual religious pilgrimage, a weeks-long journey still undertaken by devout Nurists. But today it is better known as a cultural celebration that drew thousands of revelers to the city. There were film screenings, concerts, theater and dance performances, art exhibitions, and celebrity-studded nightly galas. The opening ceremonies were broadcast on TV and watched by millions. As the car slowed, a coterie of reporters and security guards rushed to meet us. I turned my attention to Monica. She nervously eyed the waiting crowd. Don't worry, you're going to be fine. She gave me a smile, looking somewhat comforted.
Thanks, Anton. I appreciate it.
As soon as Serge opened the door, we were enveloped by the roar of the crowd. The next few minutes were a blur of handshakes, photos, and reporters' questions. The onlookers cheered as we walked the red carpet to the newly built Arts Center. We followed the guards through the cavernous white halls until we came to a set of arched doors leading to the auditorium. We waited outside as security did a quick sweep of the area, then headed in.
So this is it. I'll finally stand on the same platform as you. The platform where Sworden's women will have their voices heard and acknowledged for the first time.
Break a leg. The two of us proceeded to the podium. I spoke first, delivering a short paragraph about the importance of Benfi and the Festival of the Swordland. I then introduced Monica. Thunderous applause echoed around the auditorium as she stepped to the microphone. I exited the stage and found my seats, right next to Curtin West.
Ladies and gentlemen, as the First Lady of Swordland, I welcome all of you to the Benfi Festival.
The crowd erupted again, clapping and cheering. Curtin West leaned over and hissed into my ear.
Mr. President, I'm afraid you made a great mistake. There will be consequences.
Are you threatening me, Curtin?
No, I'm merely telling you what will happen. Your little stunt has lost you my support in the Assembly.
I kept my eyes on the stage. When the applause subsided, Monica resumed her speech.
This festival holds a very important place in all of our hearts. It is a celebration of art, music, theater, but above all, it is a celebration of the people of Benfi, of the free and open-minded spirit. As we all unite for the festivities, we must not forget the values that have inspired them. Today marks the beginning of the Week of the Spirit, a time for vitality, growth, and new beginnings.
The crowd was hanging on to every word, but the mayor of Honorka and his entourage didn't seem as impressed.
I stand on this podium today to speak about change, about a new beginning for our society. Swordland calls itself a free country, yet half of its citizens are still barred from enjoying the same freedoms that the other half takes for granted. I refer to myself and my fellow women.
A rumble went through the crowd. Scattered applause mixed with murmurs of discontent.
To truly move forward, we must make a break from old traditions and strive towards equality for all. Equal rights, equal pay, equal access to education.
Enough.
The entire hall fell silent. The mayor of Honorka rose and spoke.
I will not let this woman besmirch the traditions upon which our great country is built.
I'm going to see what he does, and then hopefully we can bitch slap him down. I sat down and watched the events unfold. Curtin turned towards the audience, speaking loudly enough to be heard without a microphone.
Mrs. Rain, what right do you possibly have to pass judgment on our values as sort of citizens? You're not a politician, you're not a speaker, you're merely a woman who's lucky enough to be married to the president. The place is not at this podium. It's at home, tending to your husband and children.
The crowd was growing rowdier. Some booed and jeered at Curtin's words. Others whooped in approval. Monica froze completely. The audience grew louder. I had to do something. I walked up to the stage and stood beside my wife at the podium. The mayor was still standing defiantly in the front row. Mr. Lest, do I have to teach you basic manners? Have you forgotten what you learned in kindergarten? The crowd erupted in laughter. Curtin's face turned red.
I will not stand idly by as our Swordlish values are being tested, especially by our very own president and his harlot of a wife.
Is rudeness a Swordlish value now? Is impropriety?
I am only doing what I feel is right to protect my country.
You feel it's right to berate a woman, the president's wife at that?
Our ideas are dangerous, Anton. They'll lead us down a dark path.
Your ideas, on the other hand, will lead us right back to the Dark Ages.
Without our traditions, we're lost.
And without change, we are fossils. Now please, sit down. The crowd was booing Curtin loudly now. He looked around the room and let out a deep sigh.
My apologies, Mr. President, Mrs. First Lady. I crossed the line.
Monica had regained her composure by now. She took her place at the microphone.
My heartfelt apologies to you as well, Mr. Lest. I assure you, my intention was not to offend anyone. Especially a senior member of the Assembly such as yourself, who has pledged his life to the betterment of our country.
Curtin smiled faintly. Monica turned to the audience.
I hope one day we shall all be able to set aside our differences as we have done today, and walk towards a happier, brighter future for all of Swordland's citizens, male and female alike. We must all remember, the future cannot exist without the past, and I believe we're witnessing the meeting of our glorious past and our bright future right here in Benfi today. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to officially open the Benfi Festival. A Morgna Vescore.
Vector and Sista. Everyone in the hall, including Curtin, finished the decades-old saying. The crowd erupted in cheers. Even Curtin started clapping. People started chanting Monica's name, and the band broke into the official festival anthem. The opening event was finally finished. But I knew Curtin would never forget what happened today. I mean, it probably wasn't exactly appropriate to, just kick him out and throw our wife in there, but at the same time, what a douchebag. Cool, alright. So, got a couple of reports over here in 2 newspapers. So, let's jump back to the news. Whole Sword Post. Grooney returns to normal life. This week, with the actions of the government and the police, the protests in the Grooney region came to an end, which have paralyzed the economy and left several people dead. One protest leader from Volgan said, "We want peace and unity. Nobody wants to see riots or violence. We're fed up with police brutality." Alright, Geopolitico. Valen deploying special forces to Vernon. Vraklovitz Valen. President Smolak has announced that the city of Vernon has been put under curfew along with 7 other towns in the northeast of the country. The Vasic army has deployed specially trained military forces in the... What? Deployed special trained military forces in the to combat. I think it's missing a region or something in there, but whatever. To combat the militant organization known as the Bluish Freedom Front. Valen has increased its efforts in fighting terrorism, with aerial campaigns and ground operations targeting BFF militants and their hidden bases. This operation will surely have consequences for the region, particularly for neighboring countries of Lesbia, Rumburg, and particularly Swordland, which has a large population of Bluish people living inside its borders. Interesting. That's a development we'll have to keep an eye on. Alright, let's check the port in Lockhaven. Calm returns to Nargis. The protests and occasional looting of the past weeks have ceased to occur in the region of Nargis, particularly in the city of Lockhaven. The Lockhaven police force has reported that the situation is now under control, despite several small protests still going on across the region. Very nice. And Suzerain. Refugees of Vernon. Reports from our border and the Vasic city Vernon show that there are about 1,000 people running away from Vasic military forces towards the Swordish border. Cool. So it looks like we finally got the protests and all the civil unrest more or less under control. But now it looks like we're going to have a new issue with refugees coming in from Valen. On top of the fact we still potentially have some problems here on the border with Rumburg. Just kind of a never-ending parade of crap here, but that's okay. Because it's time for some downtime. It felt like eternity since the Benfi Festival. Had it really only been less than 24 hours? I was at home now, drinking an afternoon coffee in my balcony. A stack of newspapers lay by my side. Picked them up one by one, reading and rereading the articles about the festival. Some of the papers came out in full support of the First Lady for her brave speech. Others took Curtin's side. Nearly all of them agreed that the First Lady had acquitted herself very well following the interruption. I was putting the last newspaper down as Monica joined me on the balcony.
Listen, can we talk for a bit?
Of course, what is it? Monica sat and picked up the nearest newspaper. She pointed to a particularly insulting headline on the front page.
I never in a million years would have wished for this, Anton. I just wanted to thank you for supporting me and apologize for creating such a spectacle. All I wanted was to bring people Swordland together the way you're able to, but not like this.
Her eyes were getting moist. A single tear fell onto the newsprint. You're gonna succeed in this. You have to be stronger. I know you can be. Oh, Anton. Her eyes filled with gratitude. I could see she'd slept as little as I had since the festival. Thank you. One more thing. You know how stubborn I am. When I gave that speech, I saw hope in the eyes of all the women in the audience. This is the right path for me, Anton. I want to officially adopt this cause as First Lady, to actually get involved in politics, not just give impromptu speeches. I could even help your education minister with those reforms she's working on. I know this is something you're passionate about as well. Can I count on you? Yeah, why not? Of course, my love. I'm looking forward to working closer together. Oh, Anton, this means so much to me. Monica hugged me tightly. I felt some of the past day's tension melt away. Thank you. Noise came from the balcony door. We both turned our heads to see Deanna standing there. Mama, I'm hungry. Let's go to the kitchen, baby. We'll make Papa the best snack ever. Yeah! We left the balcony and returned half an hour later with a large cookie. Deanna had written my name in icing on it. As I sipped my coffee and nibbled the cookie, I thought that I had made the right choice. Things were going to get harder, but at least my life at home was somewhat peaceful. Nice, okay. Well, that feels like as good a spot as any to go ahead and stop for today. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you all next time.